Y'all ready for this?
Indie Soul Rhythms is your home for global independent soul and R&B, featuring exclusive artist interviews, curated playlists, and deep connections from London to LA. Subscribe and join the rhythm.
All I can say is gee whiz.
Welcome everybody to Indie Soul Rhythms, where creativity meets purpose and every voice tells a deeper story. Today's guest is a true artist, poet, performer, and activist whose words don't just entertain, they ignite. Born in Dallas, Texas, he's turned his journey from corporate America into a living testimony of purpose in motion. Get ready for a conversation that blends art, activism, and authenticity. Please welcome the visionary voice of Zemill.
Thank you so much, Uchi, for having me, man. You know what? That is one of the smoothest, coolest intros that I've ever had. So I want you to know I'm gonna put some music to that one right there. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that one. If I have your permission to do it, I'm gonna use that
Absolutely.
one.
Anytime. It's our pleasure to have you here. So without further ado, we're just gonna jump right into it and let our listeners get to know who you are and what you're all about. So we're going to start from, looking at something deeply personal. You've spoken about a moment where you looked into the mirror and asked, what am I doing with my life? Can you take us back to that moment and what shifted in your in you after that?
What happened in that moment, that very poignant moment, we were changing at work the old guard to the new guard, and they were downsizing, right? And there were going to be people who made it, and then there were going to be people who were influenced to actually take early retirement.
Right.
And at that moment, I started thinking, man, I don't want to live my life with people controlling who I am and what I do. And at any time, at any moment, someone else, particularly when you're working for someone else. And I've been with the company at that point for 30 years and have spent actually 40 years there. And they were saying, okay, you may be on the cutting list. So at that moment, I said, it's time for me to take all of the music, the writings, the gift, the poetry, the songs, and then do something with that, because God did not give me the gift without, the idea and the ability to actually share it. So what shifted was when I made the cut, I said, okay, I still have a job. I still have a base, right? So now that I have this base, now it's time to pursue the music. Now it's time to pursue all of those things, the music, the poetry, and get my life started from a creative standpoint now that the business part of it is solidified, and use that as the foundation for what I do going forward.
Sure. And I mean, breaking free from corporate to almost kind of like becoming independent, what were the internal battles you faced before deciding to step into your creative truth?
The idea of, and that's a really, really good question. Internally, it was, can I do this? I knew I had the ability to do it, and the talent. And that's not arrogance, that's confidence in the gift that was given to me. I had written over 1,000 songs, 1,000 poems, and all those kind of things, but they were just sitting on the shelf. And so the internal battles dealt with the preparation, the understanding of the organization, the understanding of making sure everything is copywritten, and then making sure that I was ready mentally, physically, and emotionally and financially to back myself. So one of the things that you have to fight when you're stepping out there on your own is any kind of doubt. You have to dispel it. Any kind of thing that you feel like in your mind is going to hold you back, any weight that's going to pull you down, that's whether it's friends, family, or people who are doubters and or haters. So from the inside out, I had to look at myself and say, it's time, and then fight through all of the noise that was saying, okay, you got this good job. It's a great job. It's a great company. Stay there. When in my mind, it was saying, go do what you have been sent here and blessed to be doing at this time in your life?
And at any point, did you have ever feel or have any like imposter syndrome where you kind of felt like, you know, I can't do this. I'm not good enough.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I never felt that I wasn't good enough, right? But
Mm,
there was a great moment where I was on a show, the Black Academy of Arts and Letters. They do a series called Poets and Jazz. And there was this great poet, his name is Seven. So I ended up opening for him, right?
right.
And I thought at the time, I had been doing it now for a couple of years. I thought I was pretty good. I felt pretty good about myself. And then I saw him, and he had been doing it for like 15 years. And I saw him and I saw his command of the audience.
Mm,
And I said, okay, I see now why I am opening for him, because I went set in the audience and experienced his professionalism and how he articulated his words and how he moved. And so I learned a lot from, the people that are around me and the other artists that I was coming in contact with. So I never doubted who I was or the ability, but I did get some information. I did get something from Joe McCrae, who's actually my music producer, incredible guy. He said, if your performance ever got to the level of your content, it's a wrap. And
wow.
then a young lady by the name of Crystal Lassiter said to me, she said that you have to know your content. You have to know what you're saying so cold blooded that when you're up there and you're speaking, even if you miss a word or something, you know it so well and so confident in what you're doing that only you will know the mistake that you made or something that you missed. So there was never any doubt there in the ability. It was understanding how I needed to trust the process and humble myself to growth and humble myself to learning and getting better every single day and practicing. It sounds simple, but that old cliche, what's those 5 P's? Proper preparation prevents poor performance.
That's true.
That's real. It's real. And so I had to learn that,
And
live it.
yeah, and I like that you shared that because I'm hoping that if there are anyone who's aspiring to go independent or pursue their art, that they take that as an encouragement that you got to prepare.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And it doesn't, and here's the thing. Your talent matters,
Mm,
but it is the discipline and the consistency and the commitment to enhancing the talent that makes it that takes you to the next level. When you read my first book, Thoughts and Vision, I thought it was really, really, I thought it was good. And I actually won an award for that book, Thoughts and Vision, right?
right.
But then I wrote Love Unleashed. And when I went back and read Love Unleashed versus, Thoughts and Vision, my whole vocabulary went to another level. My whole style of writing moved to a depth where the first book was, it was kind of a feel good, but not only did Love Unleashed go to the tertiary level of understanding and thought, but it opened up a whole new array of beautiful of thoughts and the communicating of those thoughts became clearer and easier to do, and that just came with putting in the work, and you have to do it every day. You really have to put in the work.
It's just like athletes, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I played football, basketball, ran track, and it's not something that you can just go out there and do. And a true confession. I'll confess this to you. I thought that I was preparing for a show, and it was a just I was doing 3 pieces, and I said, okay, since I'm only doing 3 pieces, and they're not asking for me to do anything really new, I thought, okay, I don't need to really put a whole lot of work in,
Mm,
but that's not right. I learned that whether it's 5,000 people or 15,000 people or 5 people,
yeah,
right? I have to put in the same amount of work,
yeah,
because at the end of the day, I'm representing myself, I'm representing the client, I'm representing the art itself,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And I have to do justice to that. And, in that moment, let me say this here. I want to thank Desiree L. Benson and you for this opportunity to be on your show. And I want to thank her for the connection and making this happen. And then you and your grace in getting it done. And, I went and, looked at some of the questions and looked at the interviews and looked at some of your interviews, and so that I could fully understand, like the flow. So everything is preparation. Everything
Yes.
is a process, and you have to understand and trust the process, and then be consistent and diligent in making it happen.
No, appreciate for giving us a shout out, and yeah, shout out to Desiree for making this happen as well. So what does it feel like to live from that space now compared to before you pursued your calling?
Oh man, that's really, really a good question. Let me just say this. It's exciting, right?
Yeah.
Because when you are in corporate America for nearly 40 years, right? And when you're in that space and you're doing that, um, you have a set time that you have to be there, and then you have a structured, idea of what your day is going to be like. When you're independent, and you're working for yourself and you're doing those things, you know, a lot of what you do is it's you. It's like when you remember when you were in high school and your mom used to make you get up to go to school, and then when you went to college, right? When you went to college, there was no one there to get you up. Well, when you are working for yourself, it's you, it's up to you to make whatever is going to happen in that day happen. So the freedom is really the biggest thing, the freedom to
Yeah.
pursue my passion, what I'm passionate about, what I love, I love my job, but I'm passionate about the music and the poetry and the performances. I'm passionate about spreading word and inspiration and motivation to the people that I reach out to. And that passion can now be, no pun intended, it's unleashed. And so that is the difference.
Yeah, that actually nicely takes us to the next question. Let's talk about your civic work. When did you first realize your art could go beyond self-expression and actually become a force of, for change?
Man, another great question. I was at a poetry event, and I was listening to other poets, and they were talking about social consciousness and what was happening in the streets, from Breonna Taylor to George Floyd, and,
Mm.
all of those things that have happened. And poetry to me is a language of expression, and Maya Angelou and Langston Hughes and all the greats that came before us, they put poetry, they made life art and expressed it. And what I saw in my work, and how I was able to communicate with the people at a level that was clear, right? It was broken down. When I say to you, when I leave my house, will fate get me home, or will I just be another number that life dialed up wrong? And I dropped that line with Keisha, the forgiveness coach, and that when people responded to that,
Mm.
and I started looking at what was going on, and I started studying politics, then I said, okay, if I take what I do, the poetry, the words, the vernacular, and then deliver it in a way that the people can digest it easily, then they can see where it is that I'm going, and then understand how what's happening around them will affect their lives.
Yeah.
And through my words, if delivered in the way that they are intended, can make an impact on what's happening in their lives. So it was actually at a poetry show, and the piece was called "What's Next," and
Right.
I saw how the people responded to it, and I said, "Okay, your voice, the message is in the voice, because the words do have power, and if you have a voice, I think it's incumbent upon all of us to use it."
Absolutely. Can't agree with that, any lesser. I mean, that's so powerful in itself. So in terms of storytelling for change, your involvement with the DNC's letter writing campaign, it's a beautiful blend of message and medium. How do you craft your letters or any creative work that resonate with total strangers and still feel personal?
That really, really, really good. You did your homework.
I gotta prepare.
You're good. You're good. You're good. I will tell you that that's a great question. And actually, when you're doing the letter writing campaign, and that was really exciting for me because that was like the first time I had done a letter writing campaign. I had made donations. I had gone to campaign, different kind of functions. But the cool thing about this was you had all these people that were coming in volunteering their hours and their time
Yeah.
to whatever function, whether it was delivering letters or whether it was speaking, whether it was writing them. And so what we had to do was they had the list of addresses of all the possible people, or the voting pool, right?
Yeah.
And what I would do was, in my writing, they give you a list of about 5 or 6 sentences that you can use. Hello, such person. This is Zemill from the Democratic Party. I just wanted to say we want you to get out to vote. We'd like for you to get out, understand the importance of it. And what I would do differently, I would add a little line. I would add a little flavor to it, like voting is your vote is your voice. Make sure you're heard. I would add just a little tagline in it because
Right.
she only had 2 or 3 sentences,
Yeah.
but I wanted to add a line, a specific line or a personal line. We need you. Your voice must be heard. The world is awaiting your call. Your message is powerful. Your vote is powerful. So I added a little bit of my own personal touch to every single letter, and every one was different. So they
Wow.
gave you an outline,
Yeah.
but for me, every letter was different, and we spent hours writing letters for several weeks. That was really exciting because I challenged myself to say something different so that every letter wouldn't be like a cookie cutter thing, and I wouldn't just be saying the same thing to the same person.
Yeah.
So I gave them a different line, and so that was exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I've done my homework, and I was just fascinated just to find out a lot of stuff that you're doing. For example, you're running a business, designing T-shirts, writing songs and scripts. What's been the biggest challenge turning your creative passions into a business, and how have you pushed through?
Oh, biggest challenge. Another great question. Biggest challenge is understanding that when you don't have a machine behind you,
Yeah,
when you're the candle maker and the bricklayer and all of it, the biggest challenge is understanding. I mentioned this the other day also, that in the show business and entertainment, you are a nobody until you're somebody. A guy once said to me, well, you got to have X amount of thousands of followers behind you in before anybody will notice you, and all those kind of things. And I took issue to that
yeah,
because when I started, we were, I told you I've been in front of 5 and I've been in front of 15 to 20,000 people. When we started, those 5 people, it they ended up, that 5 became 10, the 10 became 20, and we ended up doing a 10-year run at the Black Academy of Arts and Letters under Curtis King here in Dallas. And the biggest challenge has always been the marketing of what you do, understanding the dynamics of marketing, how you get your word out, how you use social media, the tools that you need in order to put that in place, to move when you don't have the thousands and millions of dollars and machines behind you. Because there are a lot of people out there, there are talented people out there, but a lot of them have that machine and that, let's be frank, that money behind them that makes a difference.
yeah,
And the way I pushed through it was effort and work, because I had a job, right, that supported me through this deal. It wasn't like some people that I know said, I quit my job because I heard this vision of this voice say, quit your job. And no, 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 no. I didn't quit my job. The way I pushed through it was I used the job as a vehicle to get me to be the base for moving forward with the music. And that's how I pushed through it. And I pushed through the not knowing the names of people who said that this was not a name. And so Zemill and Zemill's Pajaz experience became a thing because of effort hard work, and understanding that I had a plan. I said I've got a 5-year plan and I've got a 10-year plan, and I've got to follow the plan to the hilt, because there are going to be some doubters, and there are going to be some days that you don't really feel like it. And you know that old cliche or that thought about you've got to work and push through it on the days that you don't feel like doing it.
Sure.
And when you do get to the other side of that, that's when miracles happen.
That's yeah. It's very clear that your values and faith they clearly guide you. And I mean, how do these show up in your daily life and decision making as an artist and entrepreneur?
I understand that. Thank you for that one. I understand that I am but an instrument that has been commissioned to deliver conscious thought and messages to people um, here and around the world. And it is up to me to deliver that thought and how I live my life. You know, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. I love good food, I like nice clothes, and I love traveling, and I really enjoy the beach. And how I live my life through an example. You know, it sounds simple, but you know, I'm doing it the right way. I don't want to compromise my integrity
Right.
to get to a certain place or another level. You know, we just won a Telly Award for Woke is Dope, this piece that I did, and over 13,000 people submitted this year for Telly Awards, and we were one of the winners of that Telly Award.
Well,
And
congratulations.
thank you so much. And the thing that I'm so proud of is that we can honestly say that it was the work, because it's judged not by how many people or millions of dollars behind you. It's judged on a rubrics. It's judged on whether or not the content is good.
Yeah.
And in the category that we won, it was social consciousness and awareness. And so that was validation, and that meant so much, because to your point of how we got it, right? How we won it because it was the quality of the work that mattered, and not the numbers that promoted it or pushed it.
Sure. Sure. Um, Now, looking at your legacy and the future, uh, let's dream forward. If America were a poem right now, how would you begin the first stanza?
Oh, I would say, if we are to be completely honest, the United States of America, the Constitution of the United States of America, has been an unfulfilled promise. Justice for us has never been just, because for people of color, we are born in this country with an allergy towards trust. We are it's impossible not to see what it is, how freedom is supposed to ring, when every single day you stand in the way of what your promise said to me that this life in this country would be. That's how I was started.
Oh, that's very powerful.
This is how I was started. And I would
That's powerful.
close it. I would close it like this. I would close it, you know, we are unstoppable when we choose to be greater. Let your life be a guiding light to those who are not able. And when our sun has set and we stand before our creator, we can say, Lord, I gave it all I had.
Yeah.
I left nothing on the table. So yeah, that's a letter that's kind of an excerpt, kind of mixed up kind of thought that I had from a piece that it's called An Unfulfilled Promise. But when you're doing things off the top of your head, like when you ask the question, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how can I piece that part of it together? Because it's such a great question. But if they put me on on a mic in front of them on stage, I'm gonna tell them that. Something along those lines. I mean, not be
Yeah.
exactly that, but something along those lines. So thanks for that question.
Yeah. And as I said, listening to your answer, I was like, this applies to, you know, almost anywhere in the world right now. Africa, for example.
Yeah.
It applies to, yeah. I mean, there's so many unfulfilled promises.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's one more line, if you would allow me.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
There was a piece in there I said, change is courageous. Apathy must not phase us. To forge the bond of unity requires the absence of cruelty. Lies survive when you allow the truth to be denied, right?
Yeah.
And you are exactly right, Moochie. You are exactly right. Around the world, it is the oppression, it is the lies, it's this image or illusion of freedom
Yeah.
that you give rather than the actual literal definition of what you say it is. And
Absolutely.
unfortunately, we are gone to a dark place.
Yeah.
And it stems from greed. It's the source.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And what legacy do you want your work, your movement to leave behind?
I Again, thank you. Um, I want people to say, when they think of Zemill, when they think of Ephraim and who he is, that it was someone who tried to leave the world in a better place than it was when he came through. That one day he passed this way, that one day he left a word, that one day he said something that moved me to do better, be better. And that is something that you can reach and grab and refer to and hold on to, because he was in those dark places and came through it, went through the other side. So his testimony was, not only did he face the demons, not only did he face the wars and the armies of negativity that
Mm.
will often attack us during the day, that he never abandoned his faith, he never abandoned who he was, and he remained true to who he was and who he is and whose he is. And therefore his worth is paramount, and his thought of himself is paramount. And I lived by this quote. He lived by this quote: we are the sum of the choices we make, the chances we take, and the opportunities we create. We are the sum of the choices we make, the
Mm.
chances we take, and the opportunities we create. And I would want to leave the people with that. I want them to know that and believe it, because you have to believe it.
Amen.
And yeah, you have to believe it, and it has to be in you, because people can take it away from you. And if you allow them to, don't let them.
Well, that was amazing. Just to round off, we're gonna have a couple of light-hearted questions.
Okay,
Yeah. You can give one word answer or you can go into detail.
let's
So
do it.
yeah, what was your first favorite song as a kid?
Barry White, it's so much to give.
All right, all right, all right. Early bird or night owl?
Night Owl.
Right.
Worked second shift, third shift. Most of those 40 years I was there.
And what's the hidden talent that most people don't know about?
Hidden talent most people don't know about. Probably the ability to sketch a little. I have a little, I can, if I see it, I can do a little image of it,
Right.
a little abstract of it. And that's something that I don't do often, but every now and then I'll sketch something that looks like something that looks like something. So most people don't know that I dabble in that.
Amazing. And if your life were a movie, what would the title be?
Oh, it Zemill, um, Unchained, Unleashed, and Profiteer.
Amazing. So I know you've written a couple several books. Where can our listeners get these books?
Oh, yeah, they're on everything is on Amazon.
Amazon.
Zemill.com is the website. Zemill's Pajazz Experience on Facebook, Zemill's Pajazz on TikTok. Zemill's for Jazz Experience on YouTube, and all of the digital platforms. All the digital platforms, the Spotify, the YouTubes, all of the music is there. So Zemill's for Jazz Experience on YouTube and Facebook, and Zemill's for Jazz on TikTok. It's all out there. And Instagram, Zemill's for Jazz on TikTok and Instagram. So all the music, the books, and everything is out there, and attentionrequired.com.
Yeah, we'll share that on our socials as well, so that everybody has access to it.
Thank you so much, man.
Just want to say a massive thank you for taking time to chat to us and giving us a little bit, of a glimpse into your life and what inspires you and what we can expect in years to come. So thank you so much. We appreciate you, and this platform is available anytime should you wish to come and share, some more wisdom with us. We would welcome that.
Oh, man. I want to thank you again, over and over again. Thank you for having me here. It's been a real pleasure. The intuitiveness, the questions, the preparation. You run an outstanding show and have an outstanding platform. So I'm honored and humbled to be a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you too. So before we let you go, I know you've got some music out there. Is there one particular song that you want our listeners to listen to? And if
I would say,
introduce it for us.
Come Along and Roll With Me is the first single off of the Timeless CD. It's, if you want to get a really good feel for what jazz is, which is the blending of smooth jazz, smooth R&B, and neo soul, Come Along and Roll With Me is the jam. It's on the Timeless CD. It's a smooth groove and it's a smooth ride and it wakes you up. If you want to party, I would say go Stir It Up. This is a song called Stir It Up. You want to dance, something to dance to, you really want to kick it. But if you want something to kind of just an easy ride to just kind of roll with, it's called Come Along and Roll With Me. It's a feel good kind of music that'll put you in the mood and top down, drive down street and chill.
I think we'll drop that one for our listeners.
Come Along and Roll With Me, because that's how I start every single show. I start every single show with Come Along and Roll With Me.
Right. Okay.
And you have to let me know how the listeners and how your people in the UK feel about it.
Absolutely. We'll do so. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shut down the computer, it's time to leave work. About to hit the town and put happy hour on alert. You have warm eyes, do you mind if I sit by your side? I was wondering if I could interest you in the ultimate joyride. There'll be no pressure, I'll be on my best behavior. I believe that every moment in life should be treated like fine wine. It can't be rushed, it has to simmer and then be served later. You are very lovely, and your name is? It's a pleasure to meet you. I am Zemill. And might I add, that smile you're wearing has hypnotic appeal.
I got what you want, got what you need. Set yourself free, come along and roll with me. If you want a good time, come take this ride. Set yourself free, come along and roll with me.
When I walked up, we were just strangers, but the more we talked, there must have been an arranger. Because I see you like walking on the edge, and I live to have my imagination fed. So let's leave this place and go somewhere time is erased. Whatever your flavor, whatever your taste, with the snap of my finger, it will arrive with haste. Now I know you've heard similar things before, but I promise you after tonight, you'll want for nothing more. So come with me and we'll explore every fantasy you ever wished for.
I got what you want, got what you need. Set yourself free, come along and roll with me. If you want a good time, come take this ride. Set yourself free, come along and roll with me. I got what you want, got what you need. Set yourself free, come along and roll with me. If you want a good time, come take this ride. Set yourself free, come along and roll with me.